What Juliet expected was a hole in the wall, some secret spot packed wall to wall with spifflicated swingers. Instead, Dawn drove them to a lavish mansion. A privacy fence bordered its courtyard, the masonry topped with jagged black iron. Juliet wasn't a stranger to a manor, but she couldn't help a feeling in her gut that she was out of her depth. A man at the gate waved Dawn in, the two talking like old chums before they rolled on ahead. The driveway circled through a garden fitting of royalty. There were trees full into the late spring blooms, sculpted hedges, diligently kept flower beds of opalescent hues. At the center of it all was a shallow fountain a little too provocative for her family. Water washed over disjointed marble wings. Hands and vacant eyes cloyed at the statue's main subject. A recumbent man was placed above it all. Absently regarding a book in his hand, he was not unaware of what lay beneath him, just disinterested. Though maybe, instead, he was trying to ignore the partygoers hopping into the fountain water. Dawn pulled up to the crowd gathering in front of the building. There was an uproar of conversation and laughter, the sounds of brass and strings wailing over it all. Juliet plugged her ear as the automobile stopped. "I thought we were going to a speakeasy," Juliet shouted a foot from Dawn's face. "Whose place is this?" Dawn smirked, throwing open the driver's side door. "You wanted trouble, right?" "Why? What are we in for?" "This is the White Hart Manor." Juliet's eyes widened. Instantly she recalled the man at the restaurant. Well, she didn't recall the man so much as she remembered the company he kept. The party brewing at his door wasn't much different. There was an obvious skew towards the fairer sex. Stockings and heels shifted impatiently, waiting for the night to hit its peak. Juliet nearly allowed Dawn to open her door, distracted by the sight and sound. But without a second to lose, she rushed out. Dawn rolled his eyes, dismissively tossing his keys to a valet. As he did so, he draped a free arm over Juliet. She stiffened in place, a feeling under her skin worse than roots wriggled through her. "You stick close, Dolly," he pushed on her back. Obviously, the esteemed Master Whiteheart can draw a dragon to a party, but that's not the end of it with him. Juliet shrugged off Dawn's arm and scoffed. "If a floozy can handle herself here, I think I'll be fine." "A floozy isn't looking for a one-on-one with a dragon." Juliet frowned. "How about you give me a chance to handle myself? You go find yourself a real date, and I'll come crying if I need you." "Jules, don't." He took hold of her elbow before she could leave him in her dust. "I hardly feel comfortable mingling here. You don't know who you're dealing with." "And neither do you," she glared back. "I'll let you look around, and if it's not too wild here, you can go explore." "Let me look around?" Juliet could hardly contain her anger. "You don't let me do anything. This is not a date, and even if it was, I'm not some pet." Dawn looked sick as she yanked her arm free. "I didn't mean..." "No, you didn't think. I'll let you show me around if you must, but don't get it in your head that I'm at your mercy." She jabbed a finger to his lapel before making some distance from him. As she made her first wary steps into the crowd, she could feel Dawn shadow her. The exchange had her on edge, making the noise of the party sharper. It was difficult to make out the crowd as distinct people. Instead, it was an ever-shifting ocean. The rise of music, brass and strings, quickened the pulse of the party. Arms thrown wildly and feet flailing, Juliet found herself darting between dancers. It wasn't something she could keep up with. Instead, she slinked to the sidelines. She hugged her back to a wall. Somewhere in the cacophony, Dawn was eating her dust. She kept her back firm to the wall and deaf ear to the side of the band. She found herself beginning to interpret the finer details of the party. She could appreciate the skirt of one lady's dress, the peach pleats of another. She watched as liquor traded hands, the liquids indistinguishable to her. All the while, an uproarious crescendo reached its peak. The guests began to holler, and then from the gate came a pristine white automobile. As the band went quiet, so did the crowd. All eyes turned to the car door. The anticipation felt endless, those in the back waiting with bated breath. Juliet could only make out a blurry image of the man in the back. But soon enough, the door flew open. Whiteheart climbed out, A smirk tugged one corner of his mouth. He reveled in the crowd, their applause roused by his mere appearance. As he walked forward, the band began anew. With the attention turned to him, little attention was given to his date. To Juliet's surprise, the woman in black was still with him, looking no more pleased than when she left. While the bulk of the crowd turned their attention to Whiteheart, Juliet found herself focused on the woman. There was agitation in her dark eyes, arms crossed tightly over her chest. The distaste on her face was familiar to Juliet, something she herself felt at Dawn's heel. As they made their way to the crowd, Whiteheart extended a hand to the lady. She examined it, the party, then reluctantly took his hand in hers. Juliet pulled herself from the wall as they entered the crowd. While not unfamiliar with mingling, it was far from something Juliet enjoyed. With the master of the manor's return, there was a livening to the crowd. Drinks swapped hands, dance and debauchery following in tandem. Juliet kept her focus on the pair at the center of it all. They led away from the courtyard, throwing open the doors to the manor.